Let's try it. This is gonna be rough. This is gonna be rough, but oh. Hello there, friend. It's been a while, hasn't it, my dear YouTube followers, subscribers? My apologies for how long it's been since we've talked, you and I. And to make up for that, I'm preparing a few things to spice things up. Some big ones that come to mind. Well, this video, for one. So, to that end, let me discuss with you today's topic. If you've read the title, and I presume you can read if you got this far. If not, well done. You've done very well to get this far. We are indeed doing a review. Yes, a review. You heard that right. A first for the Baron's Brow channel. A review. Well, specifically a review of a Total War campaign. This is the review of the Mother Ostankya campaign. Now, if that name means absolutely nothing to you, don't worry. I'll be showing some footage. If you caught me live for some of this, then you'll have known my struggles and suffering throughout parts of this campaign. But, as I will show you through various bits of this video, the campaign is, well, hard. So, let's be clear. This is not a faction you play as if you're just starting out as Kislev. You should not do that. Unless you hate yourself. Which I do sometimes, so I did that. In all seriousness, I have played a bit of Kislev before, but obviously not enough to say I'm an expert. The thing with Kislev, most of their units are hybrid units. They fulfill multi-roles by necessity, both from a lore perspective and gameplay. The idea of a bit of guerrilla warfare, hit and run, and the ability to go from decent ranged combatant to decent melee combatant when dealing with a horde of ravaging marauders, or chaos warriors, or demons, is quite important. To that end, many of their units, from the Streltsy to the Ice Warriors, to even the Zargard, I think the Zargard might be the exception to the rule, actually, but the Kossars, armoured Kossars and the like, all have a ranged element to them. The low-ranking Kossars having bows, the armoured Kossars having pistols. Like I said, the Zargard are one of the only exceptions, really, and some of the cavalry contingents, which range from very effective light cavalry, which are like pseudo-heavy, if anything, especially the Griffin Legion, to bear cavalry. This isn't going to be like that at all. Mother Ostankya doesn't have access to most of the Kislev roster until you get an alliance, or one of the cities that make up Kislev proper. Now you might think, well, that's pretty easy. You're wrong, because you don't start anywhere near the rest of Kislev on the Mortal Empires map, and that is what I'll be talking about. I don't play Realms of Chaos, I don't intend to. It's a nice map, I guess, but frankly, I'm uninterested in playing it. Though I would like if some of the portal mechanics crossed over to main campaign, but for an endgame crisis only. So, Mortal Empires Ostankya. What do you need to know? First of all, this is not going to be a standard Kislev campaign. You're going to be deprived of most of your good, solid units. But instead, you have to rely on some of the new units and a couple of returning units. So, you have the Akshina Ambushers, an elite, stealthy crossbow unit that can devastate. These are probably going to be your bread and butter. You should use them excessively and to deadly effect. The other thing you want to get quickly, and this is thankfully in the same line of the Witch's Hut, are hag heroes, but also make use of the Things in the Woods. These are both exceptionally useful and effective units that will frankly carry the day for you. As you'll see in bits of footage I'll probably present throughout the video, they've saved my ass on occasions and been, honestly, the breadwinners in some respects. Especially the Akshina Ambushers. Now, towards the end of the campaign, you'll want to start investing in elementals if you haven't already got to Kislev. What do I mean by this? The Incarnate Elemental of Beasts and the big old bear. Those are two things you want, because you can get them. You do have access to Regiments of Renown. However, you only get one, so it doesn't really change things. So you can't get your big blobs of Streltsy, you can't get Little Grom, the Ice Warriors, Patriarchs. You might get a Patriarch hero if you're lucky. Keep hold of that one, because that's one of your only that is your only source of healing until you can get more. And let me tell you, you damn well want that. Because your foes just dying against, well, how to put this? A lot of elves, for one. Dark elves initially, but you're going to end up having to fight wood elves, maybe even the odd high elf. Thankfully, I didn't, but you might have to. So, your first and most pressing enemy is the Giga MILF herself, Marathi. The only being probably about as old as you. And let's just say you're going to have to really put in the effort to kill Marathi early. Do not, I repeat, do not let her cook. Do not let her grow. Do not let her gain ground. If you do, I'm going to be honest with you, you're going to have a very bad time. I got lucky. As you'll see from my footage, I got lucky. She attacked me, and after a grueling engagement, I managed to beat her. I was on hard difficulty, just to stress. Legendary is even worse, of course, so just bear that in mind.
Oh, how wise to visit a witch on her own ground.
Here it is. War declaration. It's time, boys. Oh boy. Here we go. Oh shit. Okay. Yeah, I got this. He's got an assassin. How many heroes do you have already? God damn it. You don't have your Hydra anymore, though. You've lost that, clearly. Oh, but you've got Shades. Oh, you've got Shades. They're like her equivalent to my fucking Stalkers. Put that on you. Don't get pinned down as much. Uh-huh. Ah, yes, by Marathi. See, the Dark Elves have a hack, you see. They can just go in a cauldron of blood and return to their full youth again. So even Hellebron on Death Knight would probably look absolutely stunning. But just Death Knight. The Knight should probably kill you, most likely. Because in her religion, that is the night bitches go to die. Not on Death Knight. Specifically on Death Knight. She, when she goes into the Cauldron of Blood, it undoes the aging for a bit. Yes, that is why they do Death Knight, by the way. Marathi also does the same, but hers actually works. Hellebron's just gets worse. That's why in her campaign, you want to attack Marathi and Delariel. But Marathi's Cauldron works just fine. Why does it separate them like that? It's weird.
know the horrors of the deep forest. You know what lies in store for those who oppose me. Take heart, for today I am on your side.
Okay, so that's what those do. And then we have the healing moat. Oh, yeah, it does heal. Yeah, it heals. So I'm hoping they walk in to be shot at a bunch. Then we can just kind of like go to town on them. Look at that, the bounty power's already a bit more in our favour than it was before. She's going to drain those witch elves for more magic. There you go. Enjoy a bit of that hag bullshit. That really cool effect, actually. Holy shit! Look at that. That's a cool shit. I'm hoping the trees kind of like obscure them a bit. Some things in the woods there. I'm just going to try and plow them through.
I am no hag.
Do that.
Ancestors of Kislev, to me! Heed the call of the hag! Cossacks! Yes! Into death! Defenders of Kislev! Bring them down!
Bring them in.
Cossacks!
Right, 2 units of them trading blows with him should be okay. Now the problem starts. There.
Shadows gather! Ostankya command!
Indeed, it is a new law of magic. Oh, Spartan's just sitting there, yeah, shit. Good point.
We fight for Ursa!
Send up the spiders. The most hated words I'll ever hear. Release the horde of giant spiders. Oh.
Mother Ostankya! The last rock! Sate the spirit's thirst! Moving my wrath! Fleming! Take me there! Fear rides the wind! Hated one! The hand goes that way! Keep
Not a good.
Land this power! Mother Ostankya! Retreat, comrades! Obey the orthodoxy!
Okay, we're winning these flanks at least. We are winning these flanks. We're losing this one pretty decisively.
The backbone of Kislev. This I do for Kislev. Ancestors of Kislev.
Not much more she can do, I don't think, so we're just going to pull her out.
March them! Bring them down! Taking position!
There is just chaos at this point, isn't there? By our blood passive, that should keep them going. Wait, chat. Am I winning this? Holy fuck. By the skin of my damn teeth, I think I might have pulled it off. Kill that K-Knight assassin. You guys, bum rush. Send the spiders after him. He will know true terror. Holy shit. Chat. We did it. If the game doesn't crash, my third nemesis has returned. The Chaos Gods. Manifesting and trying to fuck my GPU. I have been looking to invest in a new one, actually. I won't lie. See, I've been looking at some new ones. I'm thinking about upping it a bit at least. I actually have. That's what I have. 3070 Ti. That is what I have. Oh, did you see it in the settings? I was about to say, how did you guess? Because I've never mentioned that. I was about to say, Rogue, what kind of dark knowledge of me do you have? Do you know anything else about me I need to know? Is there any other knowledge, Rogue? Maybe more RAM. Maybe. It is getting quite high. It's the GPU it keeps maxing out, though, is the thing. But CPU is quite high, too. But maybe more RAM. Got 32. I've got 32 gig at the moment. So I would think that should be sufficient, but maybe normal difficulty might be a little more approachable. But again, your main melee damage dealers are going to be things in the woods. The Kislevite warriors will not last. The Drazinas are an okay Lord edition. And you probably want to use them more often than the Kossars, honestly. Because the Kossars, I think they're called. No. I will have it on stream, the actual name for them, but yeah, the Drazina are far more in fitting with how you want to be playing. They have decent melee combat, decent ranged combat. They also buff hag heroes. You want to give them a hag hero as well, because the hag hero can give them magic attacks. For Ostankya, I would keep the hag on with her, and have her buff things in the woods and the monsters. Much like with Dryka, you have access to various animals that you can call to your side. Giant spiders, bears, that kind of thing. They're not that good, but they'll make do. You get some buffs for them that help them a bit, but you want to try and get things in the woods as soon as you can. They are powerful, devastating units that will tear through most things in melee. And then keep your Incarnate Elemental Beasts handy. That guy will do work for you. he'll do absolutely wondrous, wondrous work for you. Now, of course, we have to talk about her mechanics. Mother Ostankya has access to curses and bestow, I can't speak, bestow onto a variety of units. So, blessings can be anything from ward save and be able to see further to, oh, you're on low health, summon an elemental bear, to various combat increases, frostbites, that kind of thing. And also malices. A hex which does damage and spreads to nearby units, slows, leadership debuffs, forcing rampage. All these and more in a very similar UI to Grom's Cauldron, if you're familiar with that. Basically, as you defeat enemies, you gain trinkets. These trinkets can be combined to make a wonderful curse or blessing. Now, you don't have to fight everyone. If you make an alliance with them, you can, instead, get it that way too. You'll have one for every race other than, I think, Kislev, to my knowledge. But, needless to say, you've got a lot of options. However, it'll take time. You also have a global mechanic. Initially, you can use a right to purge corruption. Very effective, by the way. Use it a lot and make many, many blessings and curses. Because that's how you unlock the other global bonuses you can get. These rituals each have powerful effects. And you can further upgrade them using the unique resource Ostankya gets, which I can't remember, but editing me will put on screen. However, what I will say, make sure every turn you're making more of these curses, more of these blessings. You're using your resources constantly, if you can. Because, one, you might as well, and two, it helps you get the next stage. Another crucial thing with Ostankya is that every resource building gives you extra magic capacity for the whole faction. Get more magic, which I don't need to tell you how good that is for a faction that's going to be encouraging you to make use of hags. And speaking of hags, let's talk about the lore of hags, shall we? Because they've added the lore of hags, and as someone who enjoys the tabletop RPG and the tabletop game, I can attest this is very good. Lore of hags was something that was shown off in the tabletop RPG, specifically the expansion for Kislev, which mentions hag magic. Hag magic in Total War is interesting. It is a very unique set of magic. It is unique to the hags of Kislev, and Ostankya herself gets access to it as well. Now, what does hag magic do? Well, its default casting, it's a detrimental effect, a curse if you will, a hex. This can be damage, a lot of it's damage, but also debuffs. But you might say, okay, so if I overcast it, more damage. Not necessarily. Because if you overcast hag magic, all of them, bar the cauldron, have a beneficial effect. The cauldron, instead, has no detrimental effect to friendlies. This bombardment can be shoved right in the middle of all of your guys. If it's overcast, they will not be harmed. And unlike that one Bretonnian artillery unit, this one literally does no damage to them. I can't remember if they've changed that. I hope they have, because that was a terrible UI thing. Very deceptive. Considering only the splash was unaffected of allies. But this one truly does no damage to friendlies, if overcast. If not, your own fault. The rest do positive effects. Some of them might be hurting yourself to get more winds of magic. Others will be large buffs to help your allies out. Or yourself, you know. It's quite an interesting lore and has very nice effects when used. Hopefully, I'll remember on here to put a nice little showing of some of the magic. And honestly, it's really nice to see Creative Assembly going above and beyond with making their Laws of Magic look more interesting. They've done this update to various Laws of Magic now, and I'm glad to see Hags has got that from the get-go. I hope this is a sign of further continuation of the interesting effects of Magic and how to utilize it. Lore of Hags is definitely one you want to use. Even if you're not playing as Ostankya, if you have the DLC, which unfortunately this was before they decided to split them into free, so you do have to buy all of it, unfortunately. But this one is better now, so I can better recommend it over how it used to be. The Frostworm is okay. They've shrunk it down a bit to make it less easy to be shot to death, and it's a little better than what it was. I'll be honest with you, don't bother. If you're going down that line, get the Bear Cavalry, get the Bear Elemental. Don't worry about the Frostworm. It's very inconsequential. Kills the White Warriors are okay. They are a nice, very cheap anti-large option. And if you're on a budget, they're okay. They do have a failing. They are not versatile units. They are basic bitch units that will not be able to give you the same versatility and the same degree of variety that other Kislev units can give you. You're not going to be able to do guerrilla warfare, shooting and running away with them. Those skirmish tactics, they are polearm infantry. But it means that against early cavalry and some monsters, you have an answer. An anti-large answer early on. Which is still okay. The Druzina also buffs them, along with other early game units, so if you are on a budget for your second army, then the Druzina can help them a bit. Personally, though, I would not focus on that going forward, because you want the Ekshina archers, or ambushes anyway. You want the things in the woods. Until you can get to Kislev proper, I would advise trying to get to Kislev as soon as you can, because at the minute, Kislev doesn't last. Very rarely have I seen Kislev last into the late game. By the time the endgame crisis is turning up, Kislev's gone. Often destroyed by Clan Mulder, or Archeon himself, which is very fitting in the lore, I must say. It's good to see Chaos actually doing something. So if you're playing as Kislev proper, you've got a lot of threats around you. Kislev does not have any easy starts, and Ostankya is no exception. I mentioned Marathi, but she's not the only elf who wants a piece of you. The Sisters of Twilight are very likely to go to war with you too. They are not to be messed with lightly, and you want to have your Ekshina ambushes prepared for them. Because I will tell you what, if they have their dragon, and they have a substantial number of hawks, you're going to suffer. So having a mass army of stealth archer units that can just tear through flyers, and even that dragon in enough numbers, especially with their Regiment of Renown. The Regiment of Renown gets a net that can pin down anything, and increases how much range damage it takes. You can gather how useful that would be. Much like the Luminarch's Regiment of Renown. Except this is not an artillery piece, this is a skirmishing, stealthy, ranged unit. You definitely want to buff them, you definitely want them in your army. Now, if you get caught in an ambush, that's where things get hairy. But, because they are sneakier, they should be able to get out of dodge. You can even give them magical attacks with the right stuff as well, so you've got things to help you out. Needless to say, you are going to be playing very differently. You do have access to ice magic, but don't focus on that too much. I got one just to have one, because Kislev does have a nice mechanic around recruiting ice mages. And they do come out a bit stronger from the get-go. A few extra traits and that hags don't get. But hags also start with a chariot, and are essentially chariot-based artillery of sorts that fire out magical projectiles. Ostankya herself, I will say, just to talk about her a bit, is a devastating artillery piece. Especially when you get access to the Spirit Bear. At its full upgrade, it can essentially detonate a unit at silly ranges. The animation for it's also a bit goofy. Unlike her contemporaries, Ostankya starts with 2 things in the woods, or Beowulfs as she often calls them. These meaty monsters, as I mentioned, the unit itself, do make her chariot a bit more effective. She also summons ghostly spider legs to attack things too. But I won't suggest you put her in melee. She does get a nice healing ability though. And this, on top of a Patriarch, is essential for keeping your most important units alive. And trust me, you do not want to deal with mass casualties. I, as you'll see in the footage, struggled a lot early on. You will too, probably. Unless you're already really good with Kislev and Ostankya specifically. Because, again, if you want a unique experience for Kislev, Ostankya is your lord. The whole new mechanics around her, the lack of the Kislevite roster forcing you to have a certain playstyle and unit structures in mind. By the time you get the other Kislevite units, though, honestly, you don't need to change things too much. Maybe you want Little Grom to get artillery, but honestly, going down the Witch's Hut and getting hags, getting things in the woods, getting the incarnate elemental of beasts, honestly will do you good. And Bear Cavalry is still Bear Cavalry after all. It's incredible. Powerful, monstrous cavalry unit. And what could you want? So, would I recommend her? This is the sort of key point of the video, isn't it? This is the bit you probably care about hearing. And, well, that depends. If you're newer to Total War, absolutely not. She is not a starting faction you should try. She is definitely a faction you should do if you have a bit more Total War experience, and if you're a bit more savvy with skirmish tactics, and especially how to utilize mass ranged infantry to decimate stuff. You also have to be extremely careful. Like I say, when dealing with Marathi especially, her starting army is no joke. The Hydra, for one, is a beast of a thing. Not to mention, just her in combat. Nasty, especially when you don't have access to Kislev's better infantry units. That's the big thing. You're not going to be able to do a melee grind when the enemy does get close. You're going to have to rely on your monsters and your beasts to do the melee work. Because Kislevite warriors are not good enough, and they cannot block range attacks. No shields. So, you're definitely starting on the back foot. But if you can get past that, if you can get the monsters, if you can get the magic, if you can get the various buffs and debuffs, well, you've got a hell of a faction on your hands. And you can certainly snowball and tear through chaos, stripping its corruption left and right, stopping armies dead in their tracks, even teleporting to magical forests. Very effective. And there's a quest battle for each of these too, so you get a nice bit of narrative as well. And they're all quite varied and unique. So, do I recommend it to early starters? No. Do I recommend it to intermediates? Maybe. But definitely people who've played the game more and want a challenge, or want something new. Or, you get put up to it by your chat, like me. Because of that fucking hag joke. I see you. I see you then, watching this. Yeah, I see you. Anyway. That's my general recommendation. That, if you're more experienced, go for it. Now, what I shall do is play you a little bit of footage, chopped up, of me playing through this and struggling in places. And then, wind it off. Right. Well, hopefully you're all having a good time tonight. I'm sort of fighting this game in many regards. Total War is throwing hands with me, and it will find out very quickly these hands are rated E for everyone. I will beat it into submission. It will not win, This could be rough. How is it going, by the way? How is your Luther Harkin campaign going? I'm curious. Suffering as I am. Have I been suffering that badly, though? Quick save. Let's fight this battle. Maybe I can win this. I doubt it, though, but maybe I can. My forces are a little dinged up, especially the things in the woods. Oh, God. Slightly enemy faction runs away, comes back with my... yeah. You do have the problem of being, like, at war with everything around you. Oof, 11 turns. Yeah, that's... No, I understand. That's pretty rough. That's a rough way to start. And Gorok... Yeah, it goes so well, and then Gorok turns up. Where are they? I don't like that I can't see them. I can't see them, this disturbs me.
Hearts of ice!
And some more speed raise. Oh no, is it crashing again? I do like, well, I used to a lot. Oh my fucking god. This game, it is trying so hard not to be played, isn't it? Yeah, I do sometimes. Although not as much as I used to. I used to do it a lot more. I used to do a lot of co-op campaigns with a friend of mine back in the day.
You know the tales about me. About Mother Ostankya and her curses and her cauldron. Take heart, because the enemy
Yeah, I used to do a lot of
does
those.
not. But I will teach them well.
Back in the day, I used to do many a co-op campaign. Uncovered hidden forces. This could be rather rough, so we'll see. Put one there.
Shadows gather, Ostankya commands. Ancestors of Vtuber, to me!
So many dark elves. Yeah. Ooh, I think unit things in the woods. Just what I need. Get him. That's right, fuckers. I got some things in the woods. You know, if you go down to the woods today, you may get a big surprise, and it'll rip you apart limb from limb.
This I do for Kislev. Shadows consume. Heed the call of the head. I am no tank. That rich.
So that was my bit of gameplay there. I do hope you enjoyed. Hopefully this edit looks all nice and cut up and is all to your liking. It's certainly taken me a bit of time to get around to do this, and again, my sincere apologies for the lack of uploads. I'm hoping to try and get that under control. Time is something that's like for everyone, limited resource, and finding the right time to sit down and record is difficult. But I'm terrible with script writing. This was all done off script, so if I'm rambling and fumbling all over the place, my sincerest apologies. There may be some more cuts where I throw more footage in. We'll see. But I'm going to try and make this my best. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you have, then please leave a like. Maybe even, dare I ask, could I get a subscribe? Can I? Maybe, if you're so kind. But if you think, not that good, leave a dislike. Voice your concerns. Let me know what you feel. Let me know in the comments as well what you think. Did you like? Did you not like? How would you improve this format? This is a whole new format for me, so I'll be honest with you. I'm going to adapt it. It's going to get changed. We have a whole of a campaign I can do this for as well, in the form of Azag. So that'll be next, whenever I get around to do it. And then I want to try and do these for every campaign I do. So they'll be semi-irregular. It depends when I finish a campaign. Because then I'll get a good feel for it, beginning, middle, and end. So let me know. And if you'd like to watch me do this live, you can find me on Twitch. Links for all that will be in the channel. And if you'd like to know when I go live, or when I'm doing anything at all, the Discord is the best place to know first. Though I am also active on social media, especially Twitter, because everyone's there. I do try and post to Blue Sky, but I'm a pain in the neck and forget sometimes, so my apologies for you guys who are on Blue Sky, and not the Hell site. But I'd like to thank you all for watching. It's a pleasure as always, and I will see you all next time. And I promise next time will not be as long as this time was. Till then, ta-ta for now.